let's not look at this as what can we not do, or what what fears may be associated with this kind of change or this kind of innovation, but instead really looking at, on the other side of this, what's the business case for it?
Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining in Management Minutes with Mika and friends. Thanks to GovLoop. It is a delight and an honor for me to introduce Miss Erica Roberts, friend and colleague, change maker, executive extraordinaire, who has pioneered organizational development, change, impact, and positive transformational change all around through her decades of experience working across government, and now as CEO of X is Possible LLC. Erica, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for your service as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I want to jump into this great conversation that we have. How you personally define organizational culture, but in the context of government agencies?
First, to start off with what culture is. And it's not my definition, it's the definition of culture when we're talking about organizations. That refers to the shared set of values and beliefs and attitudes and behaviors of the people within an organization. One of the things that's unique about government is focused on achieving some mission for the people, for the good of the country. And so when you're looking at culture within government, because it's so tied to mission, it's not limited to just the shared beliefs and attitudes and behaviors, but really the experience. Another thing I will say, when we talk about collaboration, that's usually an indicator of organizational culture. When you're talking about collaboration, though, in government, you're talking about cross agencies, and you're talking about, in some cases, cross department, where that value of respecting others and respecting others' perspectives and incorporating that into the work that you do to drive a mission is central.
I love your highlight of the shared collective experience of values, perspectives, rather than the individual. Let's jump over to some of the most common cultural barriers to change. How can those common cultural barriers be overcome?
So I don't want to have too long of a list with this and talking about the barriers that are specific to government agencies. I have the utmost respect, having served myself for 20 years in the government. However, I will note that there are some common barriers that are common in government bureaucracies specifically. And one of those, I'll just give you a few, but one of them that stands out is risk-taking. The aversion to risk is the barrier. So you have oftentimes generations within the workplace, many who have been around sometimes since policies were created or since approaches were created or even since the agency was first established, who are rooted in this is how we've always done things, or who know that they are measured against a particular standard and anything that's outside of what they know becomes a risk. That is very, very common. I was fortunate in working in agencies and working with people and working under leaders who were focused on change. And so they gave me the latitude to accept risk. But that's what you can do as a leader. You can build that into performance standards and really think about and train and teach and communicate in a way of, let's not look at this as what can we not do, or what fears may be associated with this kind of change or this kind of innovation, but instead really looking at, on the other side of this, what's the business case for it? And really kind of changing how we frame the risk or the challenge or the change that we're looking at. The last one I would mention is, and I may get in trouble for this, but it is short-term focus. And that is when an initiative comes out and there is a perception in organizations oftentimes that this too will pass. So if we do the bare minimum to check the box, then we've done enough to get past this new flavor of the month, and then it'll be something new. And that, from an organizational perspective, it is something that we see actually cyclically with elections and things like that. But it's also, something that is different than private sector, because you have different individuals and entities that are able to call the shots and influence what the priorities are. So really changing the mindset from looking at something as a short-term flavor of the month, we just have to do the bare minimum, to really thinking about, okay, so this new thing has been presented to us. How can we strategically integrate that into the longer term vision, into doing something more efficiently as a process so that it's sustainable? It is a challenge, but it's an opportunity as well.
I love that. Sustainable change. I just want to say thank you again for your time and for your insights and for joining us on Management Minutes. I know we could go on and on, but we only have a few minutes. So my hope is that you'll come back and folks will tune in to our next segment and we can continue the conversation. Again, thanks to the GovLoop team and thanks to you, Erica.
Thank you, Mika.